So, y'all expecting us, after what she did for the last 4 episodes, y'all expecting us as the audience to come in and accept that now Reva wants to kill Vader? Like, something about it, man, it don't sit right with me. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Whole Views, and today we're going to be talking about Kenobi, episode 5. Really excited to talk about it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't so far. Most of the views come from people who aren't subscribed. It would be deeply appreciated if you hit that button and came back and check out more videos, as well as left comments. This week's question: what was the best moment of the show for you? This week's episode was very good and I enjoyed it a lot. And one of the things that I enjoyed about it most is that all the best moments of like the visuals looking at the show and the best moments that occurred in this show, like they came right after another, like consecutively, as well as they kind of like leveled up consecutively. Like each moment was bigger and better than the next. First thing that I had to take notice of was the reappearance of Hayden Christensen to do more Anakin work as like flashbacks to the prequels. That was really cool to see. You can kind of tell that he aged a bit, so like you can know that this is new footage. The hair and makeup, you know, they did their magic on Ian McGregor, but you could really clearly see that Hayden Christensen had aged a little bit. It's just around the eyes, you know, he's up there a bit, but still cool to see him in the role. It was very good moments, all the times that they flashed back and forward with him, and it was a surprise to see the episode open with him in those flashbacks. So cool stuff, even though we knew he had came back to reprise the role and do extra shooting for like flashback purposes. The next moment was a visual cue that I was like, wow, this is impressive seeing. And it's like, you know, if you're a fan of the Star Wars franchise, you'll see this type of stuff over and over, but to see it with Vader, it was the shot of Vader going through hyperspace, just standing there looking out into the void. It was cool to see, you know, it was a dope moment of him from behind and you see all the rays and stuff come in, and it was just nice to see. It was a cool little visual image and it stood out in my mind. And I'll probably try to use it for a thumbnail or something like that because it was fire. Back on the ground after the crew gets back to their little home planet and they're back on the path and they're trying to get all the refugees kind of out of there and escaping the Empire, it was cool to see General Kenobi. Now when I say that, I mean like general. So he's taking charge now and he's directing people and telling people what to do. He kind of did that a few weeks ago in the episode where they invaded the little base. Like that was cool, him coming up with the plan. But here you really see him take charge and tell people what to do, as well as like organize and people look to him and listen to him. So it was nice to see him back in that role after the first few episodes of the series showing how badly he had fallen off. Now he's back in his element and it was nice. It was a nice moment. Then some of the best stuff is really starting to pick up here in the episode where they're invading the camp and, you know, Kenobi buys his time and then Reva splits the door open, and much more to talk about with her. Much more to talk about with her. But she splits the door and the stormtroopers invade. And I just have so many thoughts about this scene. One, it was cool action to see him shooting back and forth and really going at it. But the biggest glaring thing about this scene is that either blasters themselves are the most inaccurate weapons that I've ever seen or have ever been created, or stormtroopers are the most inept soldiers in the history of creation. I've never seen like the distances between the two forces. They were basically here and here, maybe like, let's say this is 6 feet apart and they just moved this way. And it just makes me think like, bro, what are y'all boys, how are y'all not hitting the people in front of y'all? The way I see it, both sides should have had people just falling. If you've ever seen the old Revolutionary War retellings of how soldiers would be lined up in rows and then they would just, you know, aim their muskets and fire and then you see waves of people dropping, that's what we should have saw in this scene. We should have saw waves of stormtroopers and waves of the little refugees fighting. Everybody should have failed on both sides if these weapons were accurate or if any of these people can shoot. But apparently they can't, and you know, the show had to go through the motions. Now it was some cool motions to go through. It was a nice action scene. But man, it blew my mind the way they kept missing on both sides, mainly the stormtrooper side, but both sides kept missing and they took out a few people along the way. Very, very weird, these blasters and how they work. You know, I'm a Star Wars fan, but I don't think I ever seen it that bad. I don't think I've ever seen it that bad. Then the top moment of the show to me is Vader walking into that area and seeing the ship taking off and just like, nope, he ain't going nowhere. Listen, I like the Darth Vader character every time we get him on screen doing something because he consistently becomes more and more of a badass. And he really showed off this episode, one, by stopping the plane and grounding it, using the Force, just, you know, that bam, come down. And then beating Reva with the dual lightsaber, just the way he just basically went hand to hand with no hands. That was awesome. He just kept, Very nice stuff from Vader here in this episode. But getting to the one criticism is always, for me, related to Reva. So, y'all expecting us, after what she did for the last 4 episodes, y'all expecting us as the audience to come in and accept that now Reva wants to kill Vader? Like, something about it, man, it don't sit right with me. She charged too hard for 4 episodes to now be willing to go after Vader and side with and help Kenobi. Like, it's just, like, I understand the character was designed to be like raging and driven and vengeful, but even the Grand Inquisitor himself in this episode said it. He said, your rage has grown tiresome. I was tired of Reva in episode 4 when I made that video. And my thought is just, you can't tell me a person who's done all that she's done is now willing to flip sides on one conversation. I just can't get down with that. I don't like it. And I'm not saying the episode wasn't good, not saying that the show is not good because of the Reva storyline, but they made her character too hateful. She came across as too driven. You know, I did the whole Batman thing, like, whoa, where is it? Like, you was doing that for the majority of the time that we saw you as an audience. And now we see you and we're supposed to accept that it's different now. And I can't. When we look back on the Kenobi series, I think Moses Ingram's performance is probably gonna be the worst part of it, no matter who you talk to. It's not because of her, per se. I feel like she was badly directed because she charged hard for many episodes, and now we're supposed to just accept that, oh, she talked to Kenobi at a door, through the door once, and now, oh, it was about killing Vader, getting close enough to kill Vader all along. Like, nah, I'm not with it. Like the episode, I'm not with it. So, with that being said, that's all that I have to say here for this week's episode. I am looking forward to seeing this finale. It's a quick ride. So let's see how they land this bird. I think they've done okay thus far. I do feel like Kenobi is way better than the Book of Boba Fett, but I don't think it touches Mando, in my opinion. Let me know what you think about that too, if you're still watching at this point. Thank you for watching this far. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.